Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you what responsive time does. I'm going to show you what it doesn't do first so that we can see why it's awesome. I've got this animation, you can see a couple of keyframes at the end. Okay, it gets to the end and watch this, it wipes off. Okay, but if I resize it, we'll make it a bit smaller for a different clip. Can you see the keyframes are gone? They disappeared because it got smaller. What we can do, okay, is this version here has responsive time turned on. You can kind of see it here, it's these little edges here. These bits will attach themselves to the end, both the beginning and end. And watch this, if I resize it, look, they just stay along. This middle bit is squidgy, okay, it can kind of resize, but these end parts kind of attach to the end rather than a specific time. And it means you can resize this clip anytime you like, okay, and these keyframes come along for the ride. That's responsive time. Let me show you how to make it. So first of all, we need some sort of animation that we can use responsive time for. So what I'm going to do is over this co-working 08, I'm going to go to Essential Graphics, Edit, hit this little new button, add some text, and I'm going to type in that co-work. I'm going to use the brand kind of working version. Co-working in Dublin. I'm going to make it centered. I'm going to pick a font. You can pick any font you want. Museo, using. Okay, if font doesn't change, you got to have it selected first. Let's try again, Dan. All right, that'll do. So we've got our bit of text. I'm going to add some animation to it. In this case, there's no typewriter effect. We can kind of we can do a bit of a wipe though. There is a typewriter effect in After Effects, but not in here. So let's go to the beginning of my animation. Okay, I am going to go back to my selection tool. I'm going to find my effects. I'm going to find one called linear. Linear wipe, okay, is a kind of a substitute for that typewriter effect. Okay, it's just going to kind of wipe on. So it's the typewriter linear wipe here. I can drag it across. Can you see? That's the whole thing we want to do. By default, it wipes the wrong way. So what we're going to have to do is drag it to about half, just so you can see what this wipe angle does. Can you see I can move it around? You can decide which way it goes. So basically I want to flip it from where it is there to this other side. And over here it says wipe angle, it's 270. Okay, it starts off at 90 degrees. We want it to be the other side, so 270. Cool, so now it's going to wipe the right way. So I want at the beginning of my clip, I want to get the transition right at the beginning to be at 0. Oh, nope, 100%. It's kind of backwards. Okay, I want to set a little timer for my keyframe. So it starts at 100%. Then after some time, I hit spacebar again. That feels enough time. Go to 0. So I got my 2 keyframes. And that's really what we need to do. We need to have those 2 keyframes that we can get our responsive time to work within. Let's do the end too as well before we add our responsive time. So just before the end, about there, I'm going to set another keyframe. Okay, and I'm going to get it to stay at 0. And then the last one, right at the end, I'm going to get it to go to 100. Okay, so let's have a little look. So it gets to the end bit and just wipes off back the same way it came. So we've got our basic structure. Maybe play with the timing there. Now to add the responsive time. Okay, it's just these 2 little, see those blue dots there? Or blue bricks. Okay, so click and drag it and just make sure it straddles both keyframes or the things you want to lock in position. So everything in here is going to stay fixed. The bits in between these 2 are going to be stretchy. So just make sure those go over the top. This is the stretchy bit. These 2 guys are forced to stay where they are. And they are linked to the end. Okay, that's linked to that end. This is linked to the back end of my clip. So it means now, watch this, I can go like this. Actually, it has to have 2 versions. I'm going to copy one. And I'm going to have another one, make sure I'm pasting on the right track. Okay, my track targeting is right. So I'm going to turn it off for these ones. So how do you turn it off? Drag it back in. Okay, so I got one without it and one with it. So this one here, let's say we wanted to use it and we don't use our responsive time. We go, great, perfect. I need it to be a lot longer now to match this clip. And I drag it out and you'll notice that it wipes out kind of this direction. Can you see there's a really long clip and it's gone? Whereas the responsive design one, let's have a little look. If I want to make this entire clip, watch what happens when I drag it bigger. Can you see the keyframes stick to the end? So my animation is happening still at the end. If I drag it out further, it's still attached to that end. Okay, so that's the nice thing about responsive time. You can say, you can only do the beginning and end, okay, but you can animate in and make this thing last as long as you need to. Might be a logo reveal or anything. Okay, it just sticks to the end, and it's really nice and really easy. All you do is drag those two little outside bits out. Okay, if you don't use it, it's not super hard. Okay, I can click in here and say, actually, you go to the end. Holding shift so it snaps to the end. So you can keep adjusting it and snapping it and moving those anchor points down. If you've got a few anchor points to do, it gets a little problematic. And it's really handy if you're creating this thing for somebody else to use that maybe doesn't have the exact same skills that you now possess. Okay, after like 80 something videos in Premiere Pro Advanced, you can turn this into your motion graphics template, and you've done a bit of that, legwork. That means that the responsive time when they drag it out is just going to adjust, and it's magic. And it's really easy to apply. Just drag these out. I had a problem when I was kind of like using this before. I've had it where I can't see that blue box. If it disappears, you can kind of just click off and click back on. It normally comes back to life. Yeah, that's what happened to me anyway. It may be an old bug that might not happen anymore. All right, that is how to use responsive time in Premiere Pro.